Hey everyone, I wanted to have a follow-up from our last video where we talked a lot about the importance of living within your means. The first and most important rule in the financial universe is to conquer Parkinson's law, which says that expenses rise to meet income. So if you've solidly locked that away, you've got some absolutely important questions to ask yourself. That's what we're going to be covering today for our video. Hello, I'm Mark Willis, certified financial planning professional and bank on yourself professional with Lake Growth Financial Services. So I'd love to speak with you about some of this. The second most important thing you can do in your financial life to build the kind of life that you want to live is asking yourself, now that I've got all this extra cash that I'm not currently setting aside or not needing to spend, what do I do with this money? And maybe the specific question to ask is, what do I want this money to do for me? Because where your money lives makes it do different things. I know that sounds like such an obvious statement, but I think it bears repeating. Where you put your money makes it do different things. A hedge fund is different than a savings account, for example. And where you make your money live will make it act different. What sort of characteristics do you want your money to have? Now that you've been able to live within your means, you've conquered Parkinson's law, the next most important thing to do is to ask, well, hey, what do I want my money to do for me? So I feel like this is one question that I never really sat down and asked myself. When I was young, I never sat down and asked myself exactly, what do I want my money to do for me? I was handed that retirement account. My wife and I handed that 401k and handed a student loan, handed a savings account, told this is where the money's supposed to go. But what do you want your money to do for you? If you could wave a magic wand, if you could just start fresh and just for one moment, ask yourself, hey, what kind of characteristics would I want all of my money to have if I could just wave a magic wand and have my money do exactly what I want it to do for me? What sort of characteristics, what sort of attributes would I want my money to have? There's a pretty cool way to do this. You can ask yourself that question, and we call it the money matrix. I want to talk that through with you for just a minute. Okay, this is what we call the money matrix. Let's think through this as a sort of a starter for the conversation. Again, no one can tell you what you want your money to do for you. You have to figure that out for yourself. But this is what I wish someone had done for me, and I want to pass this on to you. So again, there are only 400 plus different places you can park your cash in this financial universe, 450 or so. And it's overwhelming to try to figure out, do I want a brokerage account? Do I want a money market account? How much do I want in dividend aristocrat stocks? What do I want to do with my home equity? What do I want to have in hedge funds, for goodness sakes? So start less with labels and names, start with function. Function is really more important than names or labels. I don't care what it's called. I care what it does. If you want to call my car a jalopy, that's fine. But if it gets me down the road with high efficiency, speed, and fun, then I'll call it whatever you want. I'll be enjoying my ride. So let's talk about some of the characteristics, some of the functions money can have. One is risk. Is there risk involved? Can you lose money with this? Let me zoom in on this some. What about guarantees? Is there any guarantee for where your money might be living? Or is it subject to risk? What about penalties? Can you be penalized to access this cash? Do you want penalties when you access your cash? Again, the question in each of these is, what do you want your money to do for you? Do you want guarantees? Do you want penalties? Do you want accessibility, the use and control of your money anytime you want it? Or do you have to, again, have penalties to access that cash or wait for years to get the money out? What about protection? Do you want it to be protected from creditors and lawsuits? People who are, out to get you. If you're in real estate or a business owner, that'll probably be pretty important. What about leverage? Does this money create the most amount of wealth for yourself and for your family for the least amount of money? That's huge. That's a huge piece to a lot of our clients. How do we make our money work hard as possible for us? Tax deferred, does it grow tax deferred, or are you paying taxes on it every single year? And what about tax-free access to the money when it's time to take the money out? Is this money tax-free upon distribution? Is there any way to use this for collateral? What if we could have something that kept growing even when we used it as collateral for accessing cash? Wouldn't that be awesome? Uninterrupted compounding growth with guarantees. That's the best of both worlds. If we had uninterrupted compound growth and we still had liquid access to it as collateral for loans, that would be incredible. What about any tax deductibility? Could your payments be tax deductible from your income tax? What about disability? Would someone make deposits saved for my future if I was disabled? Think about it this way. The statistics, according to the American Council of Life Insurers, says that every 20-year-old today, out there today, has a 1 in 4 chance of becoming disabled before they turn 65 years old. And at least 51 million Americans are without disability insurance, but old age is guaranteed. And we need to be saving for that future, because if we pass away peacefully in our sleep, that's great, I guess. It'd be terrible, of course, but great in the sense that our loved ones can continue on without us, somehow making it work. But if I am disabled, holy smokes, I've got an ongoing liability to my family to cover my groceries and my, all that stuff. So it's difficult to imagine, but if you can take a moment and ask, what if I had a way for my disability, if I was to be disabled, to not impede our ability to save for our future, our retirement? So that would be a really cool thing if my money could do that too, if it could save for my future, even if I couldn't be the one doing the saving. And then what about wealth transfers? Could it be transferred to my family, my heirs, income tax-free? So those are the questions that I like to start with and just think about. Let's look at common financial products out there. There's IRAs and 401ks. There's brokerage accounts. There's the home. That's a great place a lot of people save. There's CDs and bank savings accounts. There's annuities, and then there's real estate. So that's where most people save. Let's take a look at where each of these can say yes and can say no to each of the questions in our money matrix. Let's find out. So this is the yeses and nos. And I would, if you want to quickly look at this, the red represents something that most people disagree with. In other words, most people I ask this question to have the opposite answer. So for example, they would say, no, I don't want risk. I don't want to be able to lose money. Yes, I want some sort of guarantee. No, I don't want penalties. IRAs and 401ks fail those three, and so they are red. And look at all the sea of red on this chart. I am blown away by the amount of just counterfactual characteristics to what people desire. The vast majority of people I talk to have the same answers. These are the answers that they typically answer with. But look at where most people are keeping their cash is not congruent with where they want it to live. When you sit down and say, hey, what do you want your money to do for you? Their answers are exactly opposite to where their cash is actually living and what it's actually doing. So take a moment, ask yourself, what do I want my money to do for me? Because where your money lives will make it act different. And that's the second and most important rule, is figuring out that answer to those questions. And if this has been helpful for you, please like and subscribe the video. And if this video is helpful to you in any way, share it with a friend. Get them thinking about this. This is what I wish I'd been taught right out of college, or heck, even in high school. And if you'd like this and want to continue to learn more, we're going to be diving deeper into what to do about this incongruence of cash in future videos. But for now, share the video, like the video, subscribe to our channel. We're going to make sure you ring the bell so we notify you when new videos come out. And I can't wait to show you what we have next. But for now, this is enough. The money matrix is the next step after living within your means, figuring out where you want your money to live. Give me a shout if you have questions about this as well. You can go to nyafinancialpodcast.com, click on request a meeting. Be happy to chat with you for 15 minutes, see what kind of answers you come up with, and love to know your thoughts.